This is Love Notes, daily devotions from Holy Trinity Lutheran Church. Grace and peace to you. Our text today is the 25th chapter of Genesis, verse 1, and then verses 7 through 11. You can read the whole section if you'd like. This is the culmination of the story of Sarah and Hagar both, but especially Hagar. When Abraham had lived a good long life, and after Sarah had died and he had buried her in the cave that he purchased from the people of that land, the land claim that still is the central action that keeps Israel claiming the land that they live in. It tells us that after a time, Abraham took another wife, and her name was Keturah. We don't know much about Keturah, but there are a school of ancient rabbis. I don't know exactly how it's split on the debate about this, but there's a significant teaching within the tradition of Israel that Keturah is actually Hagar. That after a time of mourning and an appropriate period, Hagar is brought back into the household by Isaac, and that Abraham marries her. It's a little problematic because she's a slave and Abraham wouldn't need to do that, but maybe that's just niggling over customs. Keturah means pleasant, chaste, reserved, restrained. And it could be that the name here is really just telling us about who she was, what her nature and characteristics were, and that this isn't actually her name. Or that the name's been changed, like it does all the time in the Bible, to more sum up who this woman has become over her journey with God. In any case, if it is true that Keturah is Hagar, then at the death of Abraham, we have all of the reconciliation that we long for, if you read this story completely, finally take place. So when Abraham was 175 years old, really old, Abraham breathed his last, he died a good old age, and his sons, note the plural, Isaac and Ishmael, there's a clue that Hagar is Keturah, that Isaac and Ishmael have come together. They buried him in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron, son of Zohar the Hittite, east of Mamre. In other words, where Sarah was buried. This is the field that Abraham purchased from the Hittites, insisted that he purchase rather than be given as a gift, which they offered. After the death of Abraham, then God blessed his son Isaac, and Isaac settled in a place that we really don't know where it is anymore. Beer-lahai-roi, which you might remember is a little bit like the name for God that Hagar used. God sees. So, what I want to lift up in this devotion is that if the ancient rabbis are right, and the modern ones as well, who believe that Keturah and Hagar are the same, God continues to work in this family to bring about reconciliation. Ishmael and Isaac stand together at the grave of their father Abraham. Isaac lives in peace, so does Ishmael. Maybe we could pray today that the sons of Ishmael, the children of Ishmael, the Muslims, and the children of Isaac, the Jews, and us Christians could all get along, could all live in peace. And maybe we can look to Hagar as a prime example of how that works. That we are faithful, that we are pleasant. In other words, we are humble with one another. That we are chaste. In other words, we don't act irresponsibly. We're restrained. We don't jump to conclusions, and we don't jump on Facebook and call people names. maybe in this text, if the ancient rabbis are right, we find a key to finding out how we might have peace in a world that doesn't have peace between the children of Abraham. And we might pray that we as Christians remember that we are brothers and sisters with all the children of Abraham, Isaac's children and Ishmael's. Amen.